This is the Less Insurance Dependence podcast show with my good friend Gary Takacs and myself, Naren Arulrajah.
We appreciate your listenership, your time, and most of all, we appreciate your intention to reduce insurance dependence in your practice. Our goal is to provide information that will help you successfully reduce insurance dependence and convert your practice into a thriving and profitable dental practice that provides you with personal, professional, and financial satisfaction.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Less Insurance Dependence podcast, the official podcast of the Reducing Insurance Dependence Academy, www.rid.academy. Membership to the Academy is a gift from Gary and I in appreciation for your listenership. Visit rid.academy and do not forget to register. By registering, you will have access to all of our resources and a free pass to all of our events, including our annual summit. I am Naren, your co-host. Today's podcast is titled The Tangled Web of Umbrella Plans. The Tangled Web of Umbrella Plans. Before I jump into today's episode, I do have an announcement to make. We have an event coming up on the 8th of July, 2 hours of CE from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Time. And the link is thrivingdentist.com/events. So definitely, don't miss to sign up. Go to thrivingdentist.com/events and sign up for this awesome 2-hour mini summit where we're going to have experts, Gary, myself, and talk about this idea of how do you deliver next level patient care and how do you create experiences that make people want to come back. So it's going to be a lot of value and obviously 2 hours of CE. Any comments, Gary?
Yeah, I'm excited about that workshop that we're putting on, because really exceptional patient care is one of the things you have to master if you're going to successfully go out of network. Let's tie it directly in to the topic of this podcast, less insurance dependence. If you have an average patient experience, you might as well stay in network. If it's average, if it's just what everybody expects, there isn't anything that is exceptional about it, then you're on weak ground to go out of network. But on the other hand, if you can really master delivering next level patient care and really tilting the scales more towards a relationship driven practice as opposed to a transaction driven practice, if it's an average patient experience, then it's transaction. But if it's exceptional, that really is a whole nother level of experience for the patient, which will bode well when you go out of network because they aren't going to want to go somewhere else where they're not going to get that. So we've assembled a really great panel. Naren and I will both do a short opening keynote. And then we've got some panelists that are experts in the area of, next level patient care. And you're going to have lots of takeaways. 2 hours, you get 2 hours of CE. There's no tuition. We're providing that as a courtesy to you, and thanks for appreciation for your listenership. July 8th, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 2 hours. You get 2 hours of CE. Come join us.
Thank you so much, Gary. I agree. I think it's going to be awesome, and our listeners our attendees will get a lot of benefit. So, next level patient care. The topic today is the tangled web of umbrella plans. So let's dive into this. I know I have had conversations with clients. I know Gary and many of you know that Gary and I have mutual clients. So we end up talking about the same clients and helping them solve problems. And one of the things I've noticed some of the people struggle with as they go out of insurance is, they think they're going out of one plan, but they end up having to go out of like 7 plans. And there's all these complications that come with it. So somebody might think, I'm only on 3 plans or 5 plans, but really they are with 15 plans because of this concept called umbrella plans. So can you start by defining what an umbrella plan is and why is it kind of a surprise for dentists as they start going through this journey?
This is a umbrella plans have been around for a while. However, the number of umbrella plans is much larger today than it was even in the recent past. And so basically, when we look at PPO plans, there's 2 simple categories of PPO plans. One category would be a silo plan, An example of a silo plan would be Delta Dental. It's just Delta. There are no others. Within Delta, there is Premier and PPO, but that's all under it's all under the banner of Delta Dental. There are other silo plans. However, more and more insurance companies are moving their plans under an umbrella. And one of the reasons an umbrella, simply think about an umbrella over your head. So now this might be an umbrella connection network, might involve 14, 15, 16 different plans. You think it's a plan by itself, but in fact, it is tied into all the other 15 or 16 plans under the umbrella of Connection Dental.
So, I mean, maybe you can explain why this is happening.
What's happening is that the PPO plans are outsourcing the administration. So they are leasing the administration from other companies that can do it at less expense. It's all about money. Everything related to insurance companies is about money. Just follow the money. Why are they doing this? Because if they had to build a staff to handle all the processing and claims themselves, compared to outsourcing it to a network that can do it cheaper, what are they going to do? They're going to outsource it to the network.
So let me understand. So what you're saying is they outsource this. So in other words, for me, the insurance company, I can now say, hey, Mr. Customer, Mr. Employer, because I don't care about the employees, I care about the employer. Now I have 3 more million people on my plans, but it's not really my plans. It's plans, that umbrella plans that I signed up with. And I don't have the headache of managing these 3 million people and their claims.
And the real pitch to the employer is, and we can offer you lower premiums. So they can lower the premium to the employer, because now instead of spending, I'll just make up numbers, instead of spending $50 million a year on processing claims and all of the associated work with being in the insurance business, they can outsource it to another company and spend $35 million. Where do you think the other $15 million goes then? It goes right to the pockets of the fat cats of the insurance company. So that's why it exists. But the difficulty and why we want to do this. So this is the first time we've covered the topic of umbrella plans on the Less Insurance Dependence podcast. But I thought it was important to cover it because a number of times we've encountered this now, and you are likely to encounter this if you're not aware. Let's say you resign from Aetna, which is often part of an umbrella, and you think you've successfully resigned from Aetna, but what Aetna did was just shift you over to the umbrella. And as they shift you over to the umbrella under Connection Network, there could be 2 possibilities in terms of what happens in terms of your fee schedule. I guess it could be 3 possibilities. One possibility is your fee schedule stays the same, exactly as it was under Aetna. Another possibility is that the network can give a slightly better fee schedule to you. And it might look favorable to switch over to the umbrella because it's a little bit better. But when I'm really talking about microscopically better, Naren, throwing you an extra $1 for a hygiene appointment. I'm sorry, but that's not going to solve the discount, right? So it could be a little bit better, and that would be a pitch for staying in the umbrella. Well, the fee schedule is better over here. But if you don't look into it, you might be seduced by that statement. Oh, the fee schedule, they're technically correct. If they're throwing you $1 for a hygiene appointment, the fee schedule is better over here, but not enough to make a difference, right?
Right.
And then
let me ask you this.
The third possibility, Naren, is that the fee schedule goes down. And if the fee schedule is down, you're worse off in the network. But the tricky part is you now, to get out of Aetna, have got to resign from the umbrella. And you have to resign from all of the plans that are under the umbrella. So what became, I won't ever call resigning a simple task, but what was an easier task in the past now becomes monumentally more complicated. As you've got to resign from however many plans are in the umbrella. Otherwise, you're just roped into it. And it's an intentional plan on the PPO plans to make it so difficult that your insurance coordinator or doctor, if you're involved in it, at some point, you just throw your hands up and give up. It's like, oh, this is so difficult to resign. I thought I was out of it. Now I'm not out of it. Now I have to send letters out. Now I have to do this and do this. And it's fatigue. It's an intentional fatigue dynamic to get you fatigued and give up. And that's what happens with so many insurance coordinators. I have an insurance coordinator we're working with right now in our coaching She's amazing. If I could take her and clone her, I'd put her in every one of your offices. But she's reached the point of pulling her hair out. She said, Gary, this is so difficult. They keep throwing hurdles in front of me. And when I explained to her, it's intentional. The insurance company is counting on you to give up. I don't give up. But her emotions were around, it's so frustrating. And that's exactly what the insurance companies are banking on, that you'll just give up and stay in network. But don't do that. And that's why we're doing this episode. Don't do that. When it's an umbrella plan, you just have to break it down into pieces. Think of, creating a SOP. We have that, for our clients. It's something we have in Thriving. SOP, standard operating procedure. Here's what we do step by step when we're dealing with umbrella plans. Here's what we do. We don't skip a step. We cover everything. It's literally like, imagine, Naren, if you're a chef and you have a recipe that requires 20 ingredients. If you skip one or two of those ingredients, the meal's not going to come out the same. Same thing here. Imagine now you have an SOP that involves 12, 15 steps. We just systematically go through those steps and easy peasy, and you're out. And we repeat it, through all the different plans. So it's absolutely manageable, but as a practice owner, this stuff catches you off guard, and it catches you unaware, and it catches your insurance coordinator unaware. And, I've had a number of cases where the insurance coordinator has gone to the doctor and said, congratulations, doc, today we're out of Aetna. And then we look at the EOBs next week, and they aren't fee-for-service EOBs. They're EOBs in the other network. There's explanation of benefits in the other network. That's where we discover we're still in network. And then you reach out to Aetna and said, oh, that's not us. That's Connection. You have to deal with them. So it is, notice the title of this episode, The Tangled Web of Umbrella PPO Plans. It is a tangled web. My crystal ball says it's only going to get more complicated moving forward. Because again, if a silo plan can save money and make more money for their executive team by outsourcing the administration of their plan, they're going to do it. And you're only going to see this more. And also, if it results in fewer dentists resigning, that's a side benefit to them. That's a side, that's another benefit to them. Because fewer dentists, because most of them will just throw their hands up and say, I don't, this is beyond my capability of doing this. I'm out. We'll just stay in network, which is the wrong answer. I'll be clear. That's the wrong answer. You're letting them win. And just step by step. And we've got it. If you'd like help with that, schedule a coaching strategy meeting with me. Go to thrivingdentist.com/CSM. And we'd be happy to provide more details about how to do this, and share with you how we make that easy. And we get to the finish line, and we've got a team on this, and provide the support that you need, because it's likely that you don't have the in-office support to be able to do this.
Absolutely, Gary. Thank you.
So I know you've encountered this, Naren.
Yeah, I have encountered this quite a few times. And I think it's kind of like the on-ramp is easy, but the off-ramp is really, really difficult. And like you said, it's intentional. And it's nothing to do with you or the patients, not the doctor nor the patients. It's just all about what's the best way to make the most money with the least amount of work. And
I love your analogy. The off-ramp is barricaded.
Barricaded.
It's barricaded. They put a barricade up. Now you can work your way around the barricade, but in most cases, your insurance coordinator doesn't know how to do that.
Yeah, and they make it complicated, right? The barricade is the complexity, and they just throw up your hand and you give up, because it's not like, here are the 3 things you do, and it'll be done in whatever time frame. But it's just no.
There still are silo plans beyond Delta. And I love it when we have silo plans, because it's a much more straightforward resignation process.
Let me ask you a different question. So if somebody is considering, first of all, do doctors know they're signing up into an umbrella plan, or do the umbrella plans do a good job kind of not sharing that information?
They make it a mystery.
They make it a mystery. Okay.
In fact, many of our clients have said, Gary, what happened here? I thought we resigned from this in the past, before I started working together. They said, I thought I resigned last year from, say, Aetna. And oftentimes it's like project done, out of sight, out of mind, and they go back to the mouth doing dentistry. Mm-hmm. And then it takes them looking at the EOBs to realize, wait a minute, we resigned and I'm not getting my full fee.
Yeah.
I'm either getting $1 more on some procedures or it's less. And what happened? And of course, goes to the insurance coordinator and asks and I thought we resigned. I thought we were out. I don't know. Yeah. Well, contact them. And then here's what will happen. Your insurance coordinator will contact the umbrella plan, the connection network. And finally, after being on hold for a long time, we'll finally get a hold of someone and we'll start to ask questions. Well, what happened? Well, the original Aetna is part of our umbrella, so you are now part of the umbrella. Well, we don't want to be part of the umbrella. We want to resign. Well, then you have to successfully resign, not only from us, but from the other 12 plans that are part of the umbrella. And that's the answer they get. And they aren't going to help. The rep on the phone is not going to, the insurance company rep is not going to be able to help you resign from the umbrella because they're vested in you staying in network.
Right.
Yeah. So it really is, I love the analogy of the on-ramp's easy, the off-ramp's hard. And what happens is the fatigue factor kicks in and it's like, I got other things I got to pay attention to. I'll just stay in network, which is exactly what they want you to do. And don't do that. Avoid that. But I'm really pleased to provide this episode, at least put it on the radar screen for you, so that you understand the magnitude of resigning from umbrella plans. If I think back, say, Naren, to the last 2 years in our coaching work, I'm thinking as I'm speaking this, I don't think I've encountered any of our practices that have resigned that have not had at least one umbrella plan as part of the resignation process in the last 2 years. I don't think we've had one that has not. Well, I take a step. There has one. There was one client that the only plan that practice was in was Delta, and that would have not had an umbrella. But that's only one. All the others have involved umbrellas. So it's just something else you have to master. It's not insurmountable at all. You just have to know the steps. Well, Naren, as we wrap up, I want to go back to the top of the episode. Come join us on July 8th, delivering next level patient care. And that makes sense whether you're, staying in network or going out of network, because you want to deliver the exceptional patient care that matches your exceptional dentistry. Come join us July 8th. It's 8 p.m. Eastern time. So 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, 5 p.m. Pacific time. Go to thrivingdentist.com/events. Thank you all for the privilege of your time. Naren and I look forward to connecting with you on the next Less Insurance Dependence podcast.